And we should be recording now.
Cool.
So let's get started with this in three, two, one. Welcome back to another episode of TVGP Spoilercast, here for Life is Strange episodes 2 and 3. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me, as always, is fellow Life is Strange aficionado, TheHanna.
Life is stranger.
Yeah, more Life is Stranger? I don't
Maybe we
know.
just call ourselves strangers.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm figuring if you've started to listen to this episode, it's probably self-explanatory that we're going to be spoiling episodes 2 and 3 of Life is Strange. But
Yeah.
just in case you kind of stumbled in here by accident, we're spoiling Life is Strange episodes 2 and 3.
Hence the title.
Yeah, hence the fairly self-explanatory title. If you haven't played Life is Strange at all, I highly recommend that, one, you go play it, and two, you stop listening to this.
Which is weird because listeners are great.
Yeah, normally I would not encourage not listening, but go play episodes 1, 2, and 3. Listen to the Spoilercast episode 1. Then once you're done with that, come back. We'll be here.
Yep.
We're not going anywhere.
Hanging out.
Yeah, just doing what we do.
Yep.
So, without further ado, now that all that is done, and hopefully I've bought enough time for people to stop their podcast player of choice, let's talk about Life is Strange episode 2 and 3. TheHanna and I both have written down what our respective choices are here. So let's sort of start off with episode 2 here. It's kind of surrounding your relationship with Chloe, your sort of re-burgeoning relationship with Chloe, and then kind of dealing with some sort of fallout with Kate and a previous Vortex Club party.
Yes.
And the first choice that I have here for episode 2, Out of Time, is whether or not you tell Kate to go to the police or not. And I told her she should wait for more proof.
And I did the same thing.
Yeah, I kind of took the attitude of, like, look, you got to have all your stuff prepped. Like, if you're gonna go for a pretty serious accusation here, including someone like Nathan, who his parents seem to control the entire town,
Yeah.
you gotta sort of come correct here. You gotta have your stuff.
You gotta have your ducks in a row, and you've got to be ready to just. You have to have all of your information at once,
Yeah.
and that was my thought process on this. Like, you could come with an allegation, but they're going to bury it with money.
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of like in episode. I think it's episode. Oh, it's the end of this episode with who you choose to blame. It's sort of like you have to have your facts together if
Yeah.
you're gonna, especially in Arcadia Bay. You have to have all of your proof all at once. One of the other larger choices is what you have for breakfast in this episode.
Yes.
I don't remember what I chose.
I believe I chose the savory breakfast over the sweet breakfast. I did
Yeah.
not choose the Belgian waffle. I think I chose the bacon omelet.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of can't go wrong with a bacon omelet
You
here.
really can't. I mean, Belgian waffles are great, but like, compared to a bacon omelet,
Bacon and eggs,
sorry.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't really go wrong here.
Speaking of great omelets, there's a place down the road from me that does a Greek omelet with gyro meat. That is phenomenal.
Getting on a plane.
Yeah. You can eat that.
Yeah, hell yeah, I can. I thought this scene was really interesting with, there's not a lot of interesting stuff at the beginning of this episode. It's a lot of, like, I'm waking up and I took a shower. There's a small choice here with whether or not you erase the URL for this video that seems to be important for these next episodes, which is something with Kate sort of making out with a bunch of people at that Vortex Club party, but also looking like she's under the influence of something. So I looking at my choices, I erased that because that's a pretty obvious one.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, I like Kate.
I mean, yeah, Kate she's just nice. Like, why would you want to do anything to her?
She's nice and she's having a rough time.
Yeah, she's not having a great couple of days here.
Yeah.
let's give her a break and just get that lipstick off the mirror.
Yeah. Also, of course, like in every episode, I save Alyssa from something flying at her head.
Yeah, like you just feel bad for Alyssa. She's just sort of bumbling around.
Yeah, she's
She
nice.
reminds me of me. It's just stuff's gonna happen to me because I'm
Yeah.
just there,
If someone
man.
is just a guardian angel, you're not gonna turn that down.
No.
Um, you go take a photo of Frank's dog.
Yeah.
I like this breakfast with you and Chloe because like I have throughout the entire series, the entire season. I
Hmm.
really like when the game just kind of enjoys doing nothing,
Hmm.
and it just kind of spends a little bit of time. You're just kind of hanging out,
Yeah.
and it's really great when it's with Chloe because the writing and the voice acting is so great between the two of them that it really does feel like they're friends.
Yeah. And
Um,
like not like friends that have been like there's no in jokes, there's no but like there's been some distance for a while.
yeah, and there's
But it
still a little
doesn't matter.
static,
Yeah.
but they're both sort of trying.
Yes.
Um,
Absolutely.
and I really like that Chloe sort of uh, doesn't disbelieve Max out of hand about the time travel powers, but it's sort of
Hmm.
like, well,
You're gonna have to prove it.
yeah, like you're not someone that would lie to me, but this is pretty hard to believe, so you're gonna
Hmm.
have to prove it. So you go through this kind of fun thing where it's like, what do I have in my pockets?
Yeah.
And it's it's a fun little thing where you get to find out one thing and then rewind a little bit and then find out another thing and then keep
Yeah.
rewinding until you have kind of the whole thing.
I like the way they indicate the choice that's going to sort of progress you further with just like a simple underline and like bold, like just that simple effect on the choice is like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, and I like that they do that in this game because I'm not always playing the game where I can have 100% focus on the game. So sometimes
Yeah.
like I'm going back through a conversation tree or I'm just like someone is talking on the screen and I forget to pause, and it's sort of like, oh wait, I just missed something. Okay, no, that's right. This is the underlined one. Okay, she has like 7 cigarettes in her pocket. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not it's not important enough that I need to rewind and hear her say, I have 7 cigarettes.
Hmm.
So it's kind of nice that they're saving me from myself.
Exactly. And it's also just good user experience design, which I greatly appreciate because I deal with it every day.
Yeah. And then they go through a cool little scene where a bunch of stuff happens in the diner,
Hmm.
and then you get to kind of explain to Chloe all the stuff that happened in
Yeah.
order as it
You're
goes
just
on.
sort of sitting there calling your shots. She's like, okay, well, what's going to happen?
Yeah,
And you go, okay, well, this is going to happen. And then this is going to happen. And I think you got a total of like 4 events
something like that. Yeah,
that you hit, and when you've screwed up on one because Chloe gives you some nice feedback of like, oh no, can't win them all.
yeah, yeah. I guess you don't have superpowers.
Yeah.
Um, they continue after that, and they go off to a garbage dump, which is easily my least favorite part of this entire series so far.
Yes, it was not fun. The environmental puzzles are not this game's strong suit.
No, and the thing that screwed me up for so long is it's just so stupid because the game has you go through and Chloe wants to shoot something because she stole
Mhm.
David's gun
Yeah,
and one of David's guns. And she says, "Get 5 bottles for me." And unfortunately, you just have to scour the environment for these 5 bottles. It took me so long to get the last one because it's in
oh,
that
was it
like
in that alcove?
yeah, like that little hidden alcove that I had to watch a video walkthrough to
Yeah,
find it because it nearly impossible for me to see it back there.
yeah, and then you gotta like rewind and get out of there because some stuff falls.
Yeah, which is sort of like really that's not. But there's plenty of cool environmental stuff. There's you can tell Chloe and Rachel Amber have spent a bunch of time hanging out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of like writing, literal writing on the wall
Yeah,
of the one little shack they were in, and there's just it looks lived in, like which is weird because it's a dump, but it's like people hung out here.
yeah, they're just spending a ton of. It seems like it's the cool place for cool kids to hang out in Arcadia Bay, which is
Yeah,
sort of like this dump with just old broken down cars and stuff everywhere.
Yep.
And then you get to shoot a gun, and you
Yeah.
make a car explode.
Which was awesome.
That
Uh,
was incredibly unexpected.
that the shoot like the finding the bottles was a pain,
Hmm.
but that build up to the scene where you're like, okay, let's shoot these 5 bottles.
Yeah.
The stuff you can do is pretty. Did you? Oh God, there's one. If you make the wrong choice, you're like, oh yeah, shoot the bumper. It just ricochets back and shoots Chloe.
I forgot about that. Or it just
It's
like
just
ricochets off three things and just totally kills her.
just yeah, like just gut shots her, and you're like, oh God, why?
Oh
Oh
God,
God,
rewind. Why?
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, so that was kind of fun.
yeah.
And then, if I remember correctly, that's when Frank comes and starts
That,
harassing you.
that is when Frank comes. That's when he shows up.
Yeah, and he's acting real messed up. Chloe owes him a ton of money. He's
Yeah.
wearing a bracelet that Rachel Amber was wearing before.
Hmm.
He's harassing you for your gun.
Hmm.
In my game, I gave him the gun and I didn't shoot him.
Yeah, I went through both. Like that was my ultimate decision. Was like, don't try to shoot him,
Yeah.
because that will probably be better for everyone in the end.
Yeah, if everybody just plays it real cool,
Yeah.
everything's fine.
But when you did you rewind and actually try to shoot him?
No, I didn't. This is one of the few decisions where in the game where I forgot I could rewind to go make
Yeah.
another decision.
So if you rewind and you try to shoot him, there's no bullets left in your gun. So you just a clip, clip, clip.
And it's Max that tries to shoot him, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You have to like pull the trigger.
Wow.
So I went back and I was like, that like because he's still like it's sort of the same thing no matter what, but his attitude's very different if you tried to shoot him.
Yeah, because he has a very short fuse.
Yes,
Yeah,
and a very
Wow.
angry dog.
that's interesting.
Yeah, I got a real kick out of that because I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I like that. That's
Yeah, it's kind of fun when the game is sort of like you really can't get yourself into a very bad corner where one of your decisions is I killed someone.
yeah, which is nice. It's not a Sierra game.
Yeah, exactly. The next scene here is Chloe very suddenly gets caught on a train track, and a train
Yeah,
is coming, which was the most stressful thing I've dealt with in this entire
for
series.
sure. I mean, you're going from, you're just wandering down the train tracks. You're like, let's just get out of here, and you just sort of saunter along the train tracks and stuff. And I think at some point you just lay down and you're just chilling out, like, there's no train coming, whatever.
Yeah.
And do they fall asleep or some time pass? I forget what
I think it's one of
happens.
those it's one of those things where you have to hit a button to get out of this like wasting time thing. It's just sort of they're laying there for a while.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes. And then Max gets up and Chloe's like boot is stuck or something.
Something like that. Or pants or something like that.
Yeah, and you're going through and oh God, you have to go up to like the control room like
Yeah,
nearby.
there's like a little shack up there.
Yeah, and you have to like bust that open with was it a shovel or something?
Or a crowbar or an
It was a
axe or
crowbar.
something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
it was just a pry bar, and you pop that open, and I think you like activate the switch, and then you have to go back, and you're winding a little bit this whole time because Chloe's gonna get hit.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like you pick up something, you're like, okay, now I have something. Okay, now I need to rewind because I have like 10 seconds left. All right,
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep the crowbar, and now I'm gonna go back to the shed, and now I have like 30 seconds to go do something else. And you do
hmm,
something else, you're like, okay, rewind again. It's kind of that interesting thing that they did in the very first episode, where it's like, okay, I've picked up this thing, now I
yeah.
need to rewind a little bit more, and then do this thing. Okay, now I'm another step and rewind a little bit more. So you have like 5 minutes, 30 seconds at a time.
It almost reminds me a little bit of solving some of the platforming puzzles in Braid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's a very similar feeling to that.
Yeah, and it feels really, really good when you figure out. You're like, okay, I have to do this and then pick that up, and now now I have this thing, so I can go do that thing, and then if I
Yeah.
do this at the last second, she's totally free.
Yeah, yeah. And basically you flip the switch on the train and you flip it back so the train doesn't go anywhere, but you uncatch Chloe's boot and she
Yeah.
can get out of there.
Yeah, one of
But
the... Go ahead.
But that scenario, I think, sets up something beautifully in the game. So you go from this really stressful, you're really using your rewind power, you're really like abusing it,
Yeah.
and I believe this is the moment where you out of nowhere just get a nosebleed.
Yeah, and I think I think that scene is especially important. I think she passes out too.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's really important for the game at that point because up until this point, Max has just been using this power not really for fun because I think Max as a character I like her as a character because she's not abusing her power. She's not like
Hmm.
pushing Victoria into a mud puddle and then rewinding her time and being like, like
Yeah, it's
you know,
not.
like
She's not using it for petty things.
right. She's using it for important things or like good things, like uh,
Pushing Alyssa out of the way of all the unfortunate accidents she's about to be
yeah, stuff
involved in.
flying at her head.
She's a magnet for trouble, that girl.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's interesting where she starts to realize that I can't use this willy-nilly because it's doing something, not only to time, but it
Hmm.
also seems to be doing something to my health in general, so I probably shouldn't push that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one decision we missed earlier was when you were leaving um, the diner and Kate
Hmm.
calls.
Oh
And you
yeah.
get to choose between answering Kate and leaving to go help Kate because Kate is having some sort of not really a breakdown, but it seems like she needs to talk to Max right now.
Yeah.
Um, or um, not answering the call and then hanging out with Chloe a little bit more.
Yeah.
I went through both,
Yeah.
and Chloe's guilt got me, and I chose to not answer the phone call.
I did the same thing, but like it was weird because I can relate to that situation in some
Yeah,
weird ways from my early 20s, late teens,
yeah,
and you don't ignore the person that needs you.
right. I
Just sort of it was sort of a moral imperative on my end. Just kind of like
yeah,
I can't ignore Kate.
yeah, and for me, the thing that I was struggling with was I I felt badly for Max and Chloe that they were finally starting to get along with each other,
Hmm.
like in a more concrete way. And then
Yeah.
Kate calls and Chloe starts getting a little salty about Blackwell in general.
Yeah.
And I wanted to spend time with Chloe instead of like escaping back to Blackwell to go hang out with my cool rich friends.
Yeah.
I
And my thought on it was just like, Chloe, stop being a pain in the
yeah
you know.
stop being a little whiny baby. Yeah,
Yeah. Just chill. Give me
yeah,
2 minutes. You can
yeah.
sacrifice 2 minutes.
So I think there's one choice there that you didn't tamper with the rail tracks. I I made the choice that I didn't, but I don't know how you would have
I
before.
think if you don't switch it back.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, I think you can
interesting.
choose not to switch it back.
Huh, interesting.
I wonder, that almost makes me want to go back and see what would happen.
Yeah, I kind of want to play back through this game and make like all the opposite choices and see how it
Yeah,
goes.
yeah.
Um, all right, what happens here after all that stuff?
I know there's a couple of choices I think we glossed over here.
Okay.
So you've got you accepted Warren's invitation or you rejected Warren's invitation.
Yeah, he wants to go to the drive-in movie to.
Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, it's actually like ape night. I think it's like
Yeah,
two
yeah.
or three monkey-related movies.
It's cool. Like that sounds fun. I'm gonna go to
Yeah,
that.
that's a
Warren
fun.
seems like a good guy.
Yeah, Warren seems like an okay guy that is totally into Max. Maybe
Yes.
a little too much, but
Yeah.
he seems well-intentioned.
But like the way Max talks about him, it's kind of like, oh, okay, girl, you know it. Come on.
Yeah, like he's making it pretty obvious.
Yeah, he's not being like, oh no, I'm just. It's come on.
Yeah.
And then there was a what is this? You wrote a message or you didn't write a message? Was that for Kate?
I don't remember. That's the weird part about
Yeah.
some of these
Oh, you
choices.
know what? That was in the junkyard. You can choose to write a message on the wall where Rachel and Chloe were hanging out.
Oh,
If
right.
there's,
I wrote a
yeah,
message there.
I did not. I felt bad about like intruding on that.
Yeah, I don't remember even what the message said, but I usually, as long as those choices didn't seem mean-spirited, I usually stuck with them.
Yeah,
So I think all it was like it said like
Rachel and Chloe were
we're
here.
here, and I think you wrote and Max was here too.
Yeah.
So, something dumb like that, and I was like, all right, that's fun enough. Like that'll be okay.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you go back to
Blackwell at that point, I think.
yeah, you go back to Blackwell here and go help Warren with a little bit of chemistry stuff.
Yeah. Did you end up helping him all the way through?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like there was really any negative to helping that guy out a little bit.
Yeah. Did you happen to stop at the table for the sign up for the Vortex party?
If I remember correctly, no.
So I actually managed to gain access to the Vortex Club party.
Interesting. I managed to later.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes.
Yeah, but probably not the way you're thinking.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right.
Yeah, there's like
Interesting.
3 or 4 ways you can get into the party, and I think I chose the least popular one, kind of by
Oh, okay.
accident.
Yeah. I went with the just I'm going to talk to this girl and then I'm going to rewind and then I'm going to talk to her in a slightly different way and bam, I'm in.
Nice. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
even think I went to go talk to her. I think I was not that I was really rushing through it, but after that junkyard stuff, I was sort of like, all right, I'm just gonna kind of motor my way through this episode.
I took a break after the junkyard. I ended up like putting it down for a little while and then picking it back up afterwards. So
Yeah.
I like was like, okay, coming fresh. Let's go through all of this and take a look.
Um. So once you're done with that, it kind of hits the most important part of this episode, which is uh, Kate is on top of the building and is ready to
Hmm.
jump. Is on top of the
Yes.
dorm. Uh, I will come up front here, and I made wrong choices, and Kate jumped.
I saved Kate.
Okay, this is going to be really interesting because
Yes.
looking at some stuff on the Life is Strange subreddit, the stories are vastly different depending on
Really?
whether or not you. There is stuff in episode 3 that people are laughing about on that you interact with Kate about
Uh-huh.
in a location I have never been to
Wow.
that I will not experience any of that stuff.
Okay. Wait, episode 3?
Yeah. Maybe episode 4. I don't know.
Maybe episode 4. I was gonna say.
Yeah. So yeah,
We'll get there.
yeah, I made almost all of the right choices except the very last one.
Yeah.
I didn't pick the right person.
Who'd you
Uh,
pick?
I picked her father, which was
Oh,
close,
interesting. Yes.
but the answer is your sister's.
Yes.
So, and I think that's such an important part of this game is when she doesn't have her powers.
Hmm.
I think
That's yes. That's something we should address here. Before you get up there, you realize that you're not going to be able to use your powers without passing out again.
yeah, because I think you rewind time once because when you walk by, she jumps like
Yeah.
you're seeing it from on the ground. She
Yeah.
jumps off the building. You rewind time and run up there, and then
Hmm.
once you try it again, I think
It
either
fizzles.
like you get a nosebleed or it's like it is just ripping her head apart.
Yeah.
And
So-
it's really interesting to see. It's so stressful because Max is freaking out, and she
yeah.
never really does. She's freaking out because she can't. She just has the one chance. She
Hmm.
can't rewind this at all.
Yeah.
And I think it's not a surprise that the game would go do this, but it's interesting to see them do it for something so critical.
Yeah. So the thing that got me, an interesting fact about this conversation. So you get up there and you're talking to Kate. You're trying to literally talk her off the ledge,
Yeah.
and you get about 5 or 6 prompts. One of the first prompts, if you answered her phone call, you take a step towards her.
Interesting.
So I think what it is, you can pick her sisters or her father on that last question. If you answer her phone call and you pick her father, you're actually okay.
Yeah, like you've done enough stuff to
Yeah.
kind of get there.
So you like there was only like it was like two little things, you know.
Yeah. And it's funny because I think I started at such a deficit because
Hmm.
I didn't answer the phone call, and then I think I answered like two of the five questions incorrectly. So
Okay.
like by the time I got there, she is just frantic, and then I
Yeah.
make that choice about her father, and it's sort of like, yeah, he's great and all, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So that is that is the world's biggest downer because
I bet.
I couldn't save her. Like,
Yeah.
and so what I originally thought is, um, I thought that that was the choice you had to make. Like,
Mm.
no matter what, she had to jump. And then by
Yeah.
the time I get to the end of the episode, I was sort of like, okay, it's gonna turn out okay. This is just how the story goes. Like, it's all right. Everybody's gonna make that choice.
Yeah.
And then I get to the part where it tallies up all your decisions against everybody else, and the choice is she jumped or you saved her. And I was just like, man,
Yeah.
what? Ah, just tearing my heart out.
Yep.
Oh man.
Trying to see here.
I don't think there's any other choices around there.
I think there's one that's saying you told on David to Mr. Jefferson. I'm not sure what that's in reference to.
Yeah, I think that is from. I think if I remember correctly, you provide to him. You give Mr. Jefferson the evidence that David Madsen is spying on students and putting security cameras up because you got
Mm,
all that stuff at the end of episode 1.
right.
Remember when you were like snooping through the garage and
Okay.
getting plans and everything? I think
Yeah.
at that point you get to choose whether or not to tell Mr. Jefferson number 1 that he was harassing Kate and then
Yeah.
number 2 that he's spying on students.
I forget which one I think I went with the least popular choice, which was I didn't tell.
I definitely told him there because
Yeah.
at that point I was sort of like scorched earth where it's like, well, you too, buddy.
Yeah.
Nobody's safe here.
Yeah.
And then the last big decision here is who do you blame? Do you blame Nathan for drugging Kate? Do you blame Mr. Jefferson for making her cry at some point? I don't remember
Hmm.
which. And then, or do you blame David for bullying Kate and sort of stalking her and spying on her? Um,
Yeah.
I chose all three and kept rewinding, and I eventually settled on Nathan.
Same here. At that point, it was just sort of like you sort of know Nathan was the major catalyst for all this. Like, basically the story with Kate and Nathan is just sort of like the sort of thing where it's like, yeah, she's gonna have some problems.
Yeah, and for me, when you look at Mr. Jefferson, that didn't seem to be an issue.
No, that wasn't a thing. That was a one-time thing. Like, who cares?
Yeah, and David bullying her, that didn't seem to be the larger issue. When you look at what
Mm-mm.
Nathan did, he drugged her and possibly sexually assaulted her.
Yeah,
So that is very clearly the worst out of the three here.
that's the yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, you can't. I couldn't ignore that at all.
yeah, yeah, and it it's really interesting because um, that seemed to be the last straw for Nathan's mental health,
Yeah,
where you sign a contract, you sign a document saying, yeah, I'm going to blame this dude, and everything I'm saying is true.
yeah,
And Nathan gets kicked out of Blackwell.
yeah. Which is awesome.
Yeah, which is awesome and very scary because that dude has at least one gun
Yeah,
and is incredibly unhinged.
yeah.
Um, and I think that's it for chapter chapter 2.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's a rough chapter.
It was like outside of the dump area, it was an excellently put together chapter.
Yep. And I think that makes the dump junkyard area all the worse because
Yes.
everything else in this entire series is so tightly made,
Yeah.
and there's just this like fetch quest in the middle of it in a kind of boring area
Hmm.
with not a lot of great stuff to do. And
Yeah.
then the rest of it after that is fantastic.
Yeah. I think one thing we skipped over a little bit in the beginning was when you go to see Kate in the morning.
Oh,
And
right.
just sort of you go into her room and you walk in and it's just like she's got the curtains drawn, she's just sitting at her desk just being sad.
Yeah. Like all
Like
the
it
lights are
was,
off. She's just having a super tough time.
yeah. And like when you talk to her and you tell her, your options are, give her a little bit of hope and say, go to the police. And she's really happy about that when you make that choice.
Yeah.
But that I just don't think that's the right choice at that point in time.
Right.
Um, because if she had gone to the police right away, I don't know how everything else would have played out. When you blame Nathan, did she say something about Nathan, and then you blame Nathan at the end? Does he, instead of getting expelled, does he get arrested?
Right.
What happens?
Yeah, there's just with so many of these major choices in each
Hmm.
episode really swinging the story in huge ways.
Yeah.
It it really makes me curious how a lot of these choices would turn out if I had chosen the other one because there are so many major choices in this game that have serious consequences. It's not sort of
Yeah.
like someone says a different line and then the story continues going on.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna get a, a very different game than you are because I wasn't able to save Kate, and
Yeah.
now Max is gonna have to deal with that constantly, and this Blackwell will have to deal with that constantly throughout the entire rest of the story.
Yeah, it's real different. In if you save Caitlyn, it's like, oh man, wow, this is heavy, but like
But
she's safe.
yeah, thank goodness she's safe.
Yeah,
Yeah, the attitude of everybody in Blackwell, if you don't save her, is Max, you're a hero for going to go do that, and don't blame yourself that you couldn't save her. You were the
hmm,
only one that tried,
yeah,
which
that's interesting.
is really interesting, and it weighs very heavily on Max because she doesn't really see herself as a hero. She sees
Hmm.
herself as someone who couldn't save Kate.
Yeah,
So it's interesting.
hmm,
So let's scoot on to got about half an hour here left. Let's scoot
yeah.
on to episode 3, Chaos Theory.
Oh man,
The very beginning of this is you wake up uh, seemingly later on in the day,
hmm,
that same day after you talk to the headmaster, the principal,
hmm.
um, and I don't remember why, but you're sneaking out. Oh, you have to break into
Chloe
the
texts you.
yeah, and she wants to break into the school for something.
Hmm.
I don't remember what, but I'm sure we'll get there. Um, so you sort of sneak out of the school. You run into a very, very drunk headmaster
Yes,
outside of his house, which understandably,
yes.
he's
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 having things
he's
are
had a
going
day.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, one of the minor choices, and I had to look this up. One of the minor choices is Lisa alive or dead? And it's
Yeah,
like, who the hell is Lisa? That's Max's
a
plant.
plant.
So Lisa is alive in my game. So
Lisa's dead. I overwatered
oh man,
her.
rough. Now
I feel
Lisa, I got
like
Lisa.
like that's gonna have more impact than Kate. Like
Probably Lisa and Alyssa are gonna team up at the end and
it's gonna be like a Halo
save
2 ending.
Arcadia Bay. um.
Yeah, so you meet up with Chloe
Yeah.
after sneaking around the headmaster. I didn't realize you could just had to rewind time. I thought I had to like find something and like distract him.
Yeah, like
So I
sneak
wasted.
around the trees.
Yeah, like I wasted a bunch of time on that part. I
I
felt
did
real
too,
dumb.
because I'm like, what does he do? And then I realized, oh, you just rewind time, and then he just comes out later. Like he's not
Yes.
sitting there the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get to Chloe and you go to the main building, the main campus,
Yeah.
and you break in the middle of the night.
Yeah, and you start heading towards the headmaster's office.
Yeah, and some interesting stuff happens there.
Yeah, I kind of like that. So you're breaking in to the headmaster's office, and I don't even remember why.
So I think the reasoning is you want to find like the student records or something on Nathan.
Oh, right. You wanted to find a little bit more proof. I think because Chloe is concerned about Nathan in general.
Yeah.
And I think in my game she's really upset because Max is upset about Kate dying.
Okay. In my game, it was just sort of like, hey, we need to get more proof on Nathan. We need to start looking at like student records and stuff.
Right.
So
And I think they're also thinking that the only reason that Nathan is in the school is because his dad owns everything in Arcadia Bay and
yeah.
is like the biggest donor of the school.
Hmm.
So I think they're looking for proof also that there's no real reason that Nathan should be there because either
Yeah.
his grades aren't good enough or he's had too many issues and his dad is just paying his way through high
Yeah.
school.
And so I really liked the way you gain access to the headmaster's office.
Yeah.
So at first, you guys are looking for keys. Chloe's trying to, lockpick. She's not very good at it.
Yeah.
And you text Warren, who, dude knows his chemistry.
Science dude.
Yeah. And you're like, hey, let's say I needed to open a door. And he's like, oh, yeah, here's how you make a pipe bomb.
Yeah, and it's just like when I read that I was just like, I'm sorry, what? I'm doing what now?
Yeah. And he said this, like, series of emoji.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
And I'm like, somehow that gets interpreted as like, oh, yeah, here's all the ingredients for a pipe bomb.
Yeah, and I kind of like this scene because you get to spend a lot of time in the school by yourself, sort of going through all of these individual classrooms, getting all this stuff for a bomb.
Yeah.
But I like spending time in the spaces in this game,
Yeah.
and you never really got a chance to spend too much time in the school when there wasn't like 500 people, milling around the halls.
Oh, for sure. And I think that is really cool. And then you get to like go through and like see. You can change Warren's grade after you've helped him. Was one of the
Oh,
things
right,
I
you
did.
can. It goes from like a
Like an A minus to an A plus.
yeah, you just draw the line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think looking at my choices, I had forgotten that's what it right. The decision is you quote unquote helped Warren
Yeah.
with his exam. I helped Warren.
I
He's a
helped
good
Warren.
guy.
Warren's a good guy. He deserves it.
Yeah, he deserves that extra line.
Yeah. But what's really interesting is you don't even really necessarily you use the pipe bomb to get access to the principal's office.
Yeah,
So you blow the door open, and all the fire alarms go off because you just set off a pipe bomb.
right.
And it took me a minute, so I'm like, oh god, I gotta rewind because police are coming.
Yeah,
It took me a minute to realize, oh wait, I need to blow the door open. I need to go in the door, rewind, and then just unlock the door.
I loved that scene so much because not only can you hear Chloe muttering to herself while she's trying to unlock the door when you're on the other side,
Yeah.
but then like how she looks at you when you just open the door from the inside is just like she thinks you're now pure magic.
Yes.
Like you managed to just teleport on the other side of the door and Max is just like, come on in.
Yo.
Yeah, I thought that was really, really great. And just one of the things that this game does so well is that sort of playing around with time travel and playing around with the rewind feature is you get to run into fun stuff like that where she didn't teleport. She's just on the other side of the door and rewound until the door closed.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so
Well,
cool.
it's sort of weird it sort of messes with my head when solving puzzles because like if you it's like playing, like I said, I've been comparing this game a lot to Braid because it's got the time aspect to it.
Yeah.
The thing about Braid, if I remember correctly, is time and space were one. Like,
Right.
if you rewound, you moved.
Yeah, your character sort of moves backwards.
Yes. In
Yeah.
this game, time and space, totally separate.
Yeah. And it's really, I don't remember playing another game like this, and it does really mess with your head because you're like, okay, now I need to hurry up and find Nathan's file, and it's like, no, I got all
There
the
you
time in the
go.
world. Just rewind 10 seconds, and the alarms aren't going off anymore.
Hmm.
It's sort of like, oh, right, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So
Um,
that's a really just fun scene. Just like it's like a mini heist.
Yeah, and I kind of like them sneaking around the office and like looking around on his computer. And I
Mhm.
always love hopping on computers and like looking at the web pages and reading their emails. And I
Yeah.
love reading everything in this game because it's
Yes.
all really well done. Um, and it looks like you find a little bit of stuff. Like it seems like you found, if I remember, you found Chloe's old school record,
Yeah. You
and
find her old file, and she's just a
she,
disaster.
yeah, just did not get her stuff together at
Nope.
Blackwell at all. Um, but the large decision here is um, you found a sum of money. Looked like it was part of a fundraiser, and
It was
it's
for a oh god, it was like help the disabled, I think.
something like that, yeah. And it's just enough money that Chloe could pay off Frank,
Hmm.
and kind of clear her debts. Um, but it's in a really obvious place.
Hmm.
So the headmaster would definitely notice if you stole like a couple $1,000s because she owes
From
Frank like $4,000 or something like
something
that.
like that. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think if I remember correctly, that envelope is literally labeled the handicapped fund.
Yeah, it's very explicitly like, hey man,
Hey, don't.
it's not just like a wad of cash someone has laying around here.
You know what? Honestly, had that envelope been unlabeled, I would have been like, I'm taking it.
Yeah,
Who are they going to tell?
it was just money from a bake sale. Who knows?
Yeah,
Yeah, I definitely left the money.
yeah, same here.
Well,
It seemed like a bigger risk to take it than not to. Like Frank's scary,
yeah.
but not so scary that I'm gonna like get in legitimate legal trouble about it.
Yeah, and it seems like the balance between never seems like he will hurt anybody,
He
even
just
though
wants his money.
even though he's kind of like he has a knife and now he has a gun, and
Hmm.
it just never seems like he would use it. Um, but the idea of possibly getting expelled for stealing money from a handicapped fundraiser just seems kind of crappy.
Well, and like in your game, you're just like that's like going deeper down the rabbit hole. In my game, Max is a hero.
That's
Max is
true.
like, hey, I saved Kate.
Yeah,
I did a good thing here, and everyone knows it. And like she's like getting written up in the paper, and you steal that money, like you tarnish that good reputation that could come in handy later.
that's true. Yeah, so that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think you get all of the evidence, and then you decide to wander over to the swimming pool
yeah,
for
because Chloe wants to go swimming.
yeah, a little bit of night swimming.
Yeah, a little bit of
Um,
night swimming.
yeah, and there's not a ton of stuff that happens immediately that's very interesting. You kind of swim
Hmm.
around, you kind of chat for a little bit.
Yeah, you can go through like the locker rooms and sort of check out all the information there.
Yeah,
There's lots of stuff like written on the walls and like in people's lockers and stuff.
yeah. Um, and eventually the security guards show up because
Hmm.
you're not exactly being secrety.
No, you
Uh,
literally turn the lights on in the pool. Come
yeah,
on,
so
guys.
I think they're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really cool sneaking scene
Yeah.
that was made
Sneaking's
a lot
it,
less frustrating by time rewinding.
yeah, I was gonna say sneaking's a lot easier when you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I hope Metal Gear Solid 5 has that.
Yeah, just a little bit of like Forza rewinding.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just give me like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Just a little whoops, I messed up.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything else super interesting that happens there. Oh, you
Um,
can actually change the Vortex Club party list.
yeah,
I did not.
I didn't either.
You were already on the list, right?
Yeah, so I couldn't add myself to it.
Yeah, here's a sequence of events that I do not remember correctly because I didn't get on the list earlier and I didn't change the list, but I'm
Hmm.
on the Vortex Club party list. So I don't know how that happened,
That's weird.
and then I don't think that carried through. I think I ran into a bug because later on in the game,
Hmm.
that decision didn't seem to carry through appropriately. So
Oh,
I don't know if I got in this weird, bug quagmire here with some choices, but
that'll happen.
yeah, very odd.
I'm trying to
Um,
see what else we got here. So yeah, I didn't change the Vortex Club party list, and I am on the Vortex Club party list. Yeah.
yeah, and then after you do some night swimming, you go back to Chloe's house, kind of
Hmm.
sleep off the rest of the night. There's one of my favorite scenes here at the beginning where you wake up before Chloe does, and it's another one of those time waster scenes where it's just kind of Max's internal dialogue is going. And
Hmm.
just kind of you and Chloe are both kind of laying there. The room looks cool with that early morning light coming through the window. Like it's just there's something about that game that all that kind of chilling out stuff. Just I don't know. I just think it's so cool.
It's
I'm
really awesome.
just a sucker for it.
Yeah, it feels like I don't know. There's something. It's almost nostalgic, which is a weird thing to say about something I've never played.
Yeah,
But
well,
just
it
like,
seems like nostalgic for like your teenage years, where it's sort of like
yeah,
I could just kind of lay around and not do anything. That was
hmm,
pretty cool.
that was pretty nice.
Yeah. Um, sorry. Um, what else do we have here? You take a selfie, you wake up Chloe.
Hmm.
You get the choice of um, you change your clothes and you pick up some clothes that used to uh, belong to Rachel Amber.
Yeah.
And then she sort of starts ribbing you, and you get to choose whether or not you kiss Chloe or you don't kiss Chloe because she dares you
Yeah.
because of something. I chose to kiss Chloe because I wanted to one up her for once and like
Yeah.
not back down from a dare for her and kind of surprise her.
Yes. And that's exactly why I went with that choice. It was just sort of like, well, she's going to escalate this. I'm just, whatever.
Yeah, she triple dog dared me. I can't back down.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Um,
And that was kind of fun because I think that's the one time you get to see Chloe genuinely taken by surprise.
and like lets her guard down.
Yeah, and it's just sort of like, what? Wait, what? You really did that?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, you wander downstairs, and there's a minor choice whether or not. So, the cops called the house
Hmm.
to say that, hey, when there was a fight between students and there was some weird stuff happening, your daughter's car was there and kind of peeled out very suddenly. So,
Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing.
yeah, if you check the answering machine, they're sort of like, hey, we need to talk to you guys because something seems to be going on with Chloe again.
Oh
And
boy.
you get the choice of erasing the message or leaving it. And I erased it.
I left it because I didn't even check the answering machine.
Yeah, I figured that, she saved me, she saved Warren.
Hmm.
She's been pretty cool and she's had a rough time and seems to be starting to get her stuff back together.
Yeah.
And I figured, well, I'll just throw her a bone and not
I
get
don't
her in
know.
more trouble with her mom.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like erasing that might have been. I don't even know if I would have erased that message, to be honest.
Yeah, because if you play it and her mom hears,
Hmm.
then her mom yells at Chloe, and then if
Okay.
you rewind time and then just erase it out of hand,
Hmm.
no one's the wiser.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
I wonder if that
really
comes.
interesting.
I wonder if that comes back later, because like you'd think the cops would follow up on that.
Yeah, yeah. You figure the cops come eventually later, and it's like, hey, did you get my message?
Yeah.
Um, get a chance to talk to Chloe's mom, which is always kind of nice. She's had kind
Yeah.
of a rough life.
She's such a nice lady.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I think Max often says the thing that the player is thinking, which is sort of like, why are you with David? Like you're
Yeah.
so nice and he's so weird and creepy and stalkery.
He's such a
Has
jerk.
a lot of guns. Like this doesn't seem like a compatible relationship.
Nope.
So you spend a little bit of time getting into David's computer, which doesn't really seem to do too much that I remember. Um, and then David comes home and starts picking a fight with everybody. and you get the next major choice here is whether or not you are going to side with Chloe or you side with David. And basically, uh, it sounds like Chloe's mom is going to kick David out of the house,
Yeah.
and you get to side with one or the other. I sided with Chloe, and I did not even rewind time for that one.
Yeah. No, there was no like. Why would I side with David?
Yeah, and
No reason.
it seems like this is really the second chance you have to tell them about um, what David has been doing to the family.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was when you went into his laptop, you finally saw that he has webcams all over the house,
Yes.
like even in Chloe's room. So
Hmm.
then I think you get to take the opportunity to bring that to their
Immediate attention.
yeah, like right then, and I think that was the last straw for Chloe's mom to say like
Yeah.
this is all sorts of messed up. You need to leave.
And it was weird because, like, going through the garage that second time, you almost start to like get a sense of like, oh, David's just a dude, man. He's just a
Yeah,
guy.
he's had a real rough life. Like him transitioning out of the military has been really hard for him.
Hmm.
He even
He's
though
got
he's
like a dog-eared copy of like a how to deal with transitioning out of the military. So like he's
yeah.
clearly trying.
Yeah, and like you can tell he has everybody's best interests in mind. Like he's trying to save Kate. He's trying to help Chloe, but
Yeah.
he's just at every turn he's going about it the wrong way by
The
going
best, yeah.
doing it so aggressively that everybody, like when you talk to there's a you talk to a police officer in the diner at some point. I don't remember if it's the
Hmm.
point we're coming up here or the point before where you
It's
ask him about
both. You can hit him up both times.
yeah, and you ask him about David, and the officer is just sort of like, yeah, that guy, he just can't get his stuff together. He still thinks he's in the military, and
Yeah.
he's having a tough time, and we might not keep him around anymore.
Hmm.
So I thought that was really, I think that point for me was when Chloe's mom kicks David out of the house and he talks to them and he genuinely seems upset that he has to leave,
Yeah.
and he's not mad, he's just destroyed because he was trying to help. I think that's when the game, I gained a lot more respect for that game suddenly, because it doesn't, the game is not trying to make David into a bad guy.
No, it's
He's just
not.
a guy that's having a hard time and is
Mhm.
making not even wrong choices, it's just choices that are opposite to the main characters in the game,
Yeah.
and that makes him an antagonist.
Hmm.
And the game wasn't afraid to, at that moment, just to be like, yeah, man, look, he's just a dude. Like, he's having a
Yeah.
hard time.
Well,
He doesn't have
yeah.
it figured out.
Yeah. I mean, like, he kept the card from his stepdaughter. Like, that's sweet.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
And
and
he's got, like, he really, like, you can tell he really cares about Joyce.
yeah,
Like, in his own weird way,
yeah. He
he
might not
really
be able to
cares
show
about
it,
her.
but
Yeah.
yeah. Um, so you head back to the diner here. You save Alyssa again. I don't even remember. She gets like splashed on the side
She
of
gets
the road.
splashed by the bus, yeah.
Yeah,
He's like, hey, take a step back. Come on. Like,
yeah,
I didn't even need time travel to see that one coming. I saw her standing at the bus stop. I'm like, she's getting splashed.
yeah.
And then,
This
whoa.
happened to the best of us.
Yeah.
Um, you get to confront Nathan Prescott in the diner, which seemed to me like a really bad choice.
Yeah.
I
I was like, oh, he's here. I'd like tried to leave.
yeah, I was like, no, I'm gonna go. See you later.
Yeah.
You get to talk to him a bunch, not a crazy amount of stuff, uh,
Hmm.
except Nathan is basically saying like, look, I'm kind of in cahoots with Frank. There's
Yeah.
some deal about a blood oath here.
Yeah.
Some seemingly really weird stuff going on.
The impression I got was so you start to learn some stuff about you. So you go to the diner and you're trying to get Frank's keys from him so that you
Yeah,
can go check out his RV.
yeah, because I think you're looking for
Like
Rachel
just
Amber info,
yeah, because he had that bracelet on. Like he must know
and
something.
he was hanging out with her a bunch, and
Yeah.
yeah.
I love the way they structured this puzzle in the diner too. It was
Yeah.
really
I
cool.
was eating those beans.
I did that like 5 times. It was phenomenal. You can literally pick up his plate, drop his beans on the floor, and he gets up and he slips and falls on them, and it's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's great.
Um, but you go and talk to him, and you're talking back and forth, and he just shuts you down in every avenue. And you can go and talk to the cop, and you get a little more information about the Prescott family.
Yes.
And then you go and talk to Nathan Prescott, and you bring up that information. And then you talk to him about Frank, and he says something about Frank and Rachel Amber, and you rewind, and you talk about you start the conversation with that, and you freak him out.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So the gist of the conversation is like Frank's not. He's a drug dealer and he's kind of a jerk, but he's not like a horrible human being. He's like the dog he saved.
Yeah.
After having like a revelation about, oh, maybe I shouldn't do dog fighting. Yeah,
Right.
maybe you shouldn't.
Yeah,
Frank. Maybe you should save the
probably a
dog.
good call.
Yeah. But there's some implication that he's like trained that dog on blood, and there's no undoing that.
Right.
So my like when I heard Blood Oath, it was like, oh, him and Rachel Amber must have been serious. So like he trained the dog not to go after her.
Right.
That was the impression I got. Like at first I was like, we getting supernatural up in here?
Yeah,
No,
like is this some
think
culty thing?
Yeah, no, I don't think that's the case. I think it's just, I mean, it's definitely weird, but it's not like supernatural weird. It's just kind of gross.
Yeah. So you eventually, by going through that puzzle, you get the keys, and then you head out to the RV. You get attacked by Frank's dog.
Yeah, because of course you do.
Yeah, and you get the choice of whether or not you want to throw a bone into the road or into the parking lot. I threw it into the parking lot because I'm not a dog murderer.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, that seemed like a fairly easy choice. When I remember looking at the percentage choices, it was like 90% to 10 on that one.
It's 91-9 for world. For my friends list, it's 50-50. So some of you people out there are monsters.
There's at least
Stop
two of
being
you
monsters.
people.
Yes.
Yeah, stop killing dogs. So you go in there, and there's some interesting stuff there where you're kind of going through stuff, and there's a lot of drug paraphernalia. There's some records of stuff. Eventually, you grab a knife and you sort of pry open a grate there, like an AC or heating grate.
Yeah.
And you find a whole bunch of stuff, like a notebook and some pictures, and
you find like his ledger for his drug deals.
Yeah, and you find some interesting stuff about Amber and Frank maybe having more of a relationship than Chloe had thought.
Yeah.
It seemed like they were more than likely very romantically involved.
Yes.
And Chloe is less than enthused about that revelation.
Right?
Yeah, and it seemed like there were two reasons. One, I think Chloe was struggling with her relationship with Rachel Amber. Are we just friends, or am I sort of running into romantic inclinations towards Rachel?
I got that impression too.
Yeah, and then two, why would Rachel lie to me about being in a relationship with Frank of all people? Like this horrible, terrible person, and Rachel had been shacking up with him for a while.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
There's a lot of humanization happening in this game, which I really, really love and appreciate. I mean, when you can make someone like Frank, who in most games would be this caricature, this, he's the drug dealer with the mean dog.
Yeah, he's like scratching his neck all the time and like twitchy. Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's got a short fuse, but like, he's just
he doesn't deal with BS. Like it's less of the drugs and more like I'm sitting here eating my beans. Leave me alone.
Like leave me alone. Like and he does like if you just talk to him, like he's just like sort of like leave me alone. Like he's aggressive about it, but he doesn't. When you start like you spill his coffee or you spill his beans or like whatever you do, like he's gonna come after you. That's just him.
He's gonna get a little upset.
Yeah.
I don't. And then I think.
There's one big choice here that I was found interesting.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I think that might be the point where you find that Frank has David's gun.
Yes, I did not discover that
Yeah.
until I left it and didn't get it.
Yeah, I think I found it in there, and I think I left it because
Yeah, no, you couldn't have left it because it says 0% of my friends made the same choice that I did.
weird. Because
Yeah.
I looked at it this morning and it said Frank has David's gun,
Oh, weird. Oh,
as opposed to Chloe has David's gun. So I weird. There's some weird stuff with some of these choices anyway. But
yeah.
I think I found it, and I think I left it, even though Chloe wanted to take it because I figured if you take the gun,
He
Frank
knows
would
we're
know
here.
someone was in there, and it was
Yeah.
probably you.
Yeah.
I don't remember how you get to this point in the game once you get back to Chloe's house, but you find an old picture of Max and Chloe.
You're talking with Chloe. No, so you were talking with Chloe's mom, and she gave you this picture. I don't think you go back to Chloe's house yet. You're in your dorm room and you're looking at the picture.
Oh, okay, there it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So you have this old picture of Chloe and Max on the last day that Chloe's dad, not David, but her biological
Real
father
dad.
was alive.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing has been, Chloe has said, my life has been terrible ever since my dad died. If he hadn't gone out, if he hadn't hopped in his car to go pick up my mom, he would still be alive and my life would be normal. So when you're sitting in your dorm and you're looking at this picture, it starts like shimmering, sort of
Hmm.
shining, and in like the weirdest twist in this series, you basically dive into the picture back in time and you're controlling Max from like was it 10 years ago or something like
No,
that?
it's like 5 years ago, I think.
Yeah, it's a couple years and it's on the last day that uh Chloe's dad was alive. And it's like
Yeah.
literally the 5 minutes before he gets his keys and gets in the car and leaves.
Yeah.
So your whole thing is you have to prevent Chloe's dad from hopping in his car and leaving.
Hmm.
So I had to look up the solution to this puzzle because I didn't understand. Basically, just pick
Yeah.
up his keys and you throw it out the window and you close the window, and then he
Yeah.
doesn't leave.
But you have to let the scene go on long enough that he goes and finds his keys so that you can like get his keys from him.
Yeah, and then like you realize that he has this little like beeper on his keys so he can find where they are. So
Yeah.
like if you don't close the window, he's like, "Oh, how'd they get out in the yard? That's weird." And they goes out and gets them.
Yeah.
Um, it's kind of interesting seeing all of them interact with each other. It's interesting seeing Chloe happy again,
Very different.
and then you get out of the picture, and everything is 100% different.
Everything is wrong.
So like you wake up and you're in the group of Vortex Club members outside of the school, and Victoria is calling you Maxine, and you're
Yeah.
clearly friends,
Yeah.
and like she's thinking you're acting weird and you're hanging out with the whole Vortex Club and you're like, okay, well, now everything should be fine, so I'm going to go see Chloe because her
Yeah.
dad should still be alive, her family should still be together. And you go, and holy crap, Chloe has been in a, she is in a wheelchair and she is completely paralyzed.
Yeah. Like breathing through a tube in her neck,
Yeah.
no motion below the neck, like floored.
Yeah, and then it cuts and it's credits. And you're just
Yeah.
like,
Well, like the first shocker is like her dad's alive,
yeah, and
and
she's
you're
like,
like,
"Oh, hey, Max, I haven't seen you in a while. Come on in." I was just like, "Okay, everything seems great. I saved the day. I made the
yeah.
everything is good."
Oh God.
Hmm. And then this game pulls the rug out of you and just stabs you in the heart over
Yeah.
and over again. I thought Kate's death was bad enough, and then Chloe comes wheeling out, and I'm just like, "Oh my God, what the hell have I done?
Yeah. That was my.
I messed everything up."
I finished this at like 2 in the morning. I'm playing on my Vita, and that scene rolls up, and I'm just like dead silence because my wife's asleep.
And it's just like, what can you say? Like you have
Yeah.
made the worst choice. In
Yes.
trying, it's another one of those things where, like, Kate could have gone either way. But
Yeah.
in trying to make Chloe happy again and trying to put Chloe's family back together, you have absolutely destroyed Chloe's life.
Yes.
And then for it to just say, like, and for it just to put the credits up was just crazy. And I've been playing this game along as it came out.
Yeah.
6 weeks between those two are have just been the worst.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I've finished episode 4, and
I didn't even start.
the wait after that is going to be even worse. But yeah, that's kind of it's just a punch to the gut to have that happen.
that was just the side of my head. I was just like, what did I do?
What have I done?
Yeah.
But it's
Oh.
also interesting to see that as some stuff has changed, some stuff hasn't.
Hmm.
And this game does really well, I feel, with the little teasers at the end of each episode.
Yeah.
Because I think the teaser at the end of episode 3 was like, because episode 4 is called Dark Room, and I think it
Yeah.
was like that dance party
Hmm.
where it's just like, what is happening here? Like, what, is this the same game? Like, what? How's this going? Um, yeah, this game is outstanding, and
Yes.
episode 1 was good. Episode
Mhm.
2 was great. Episode 3 was even better.
Episode 3 is phenomenal.
And I think episode 4 is even better than two and 3. Like, it just continues to get better and better and better quality.
Man.
I give them so much credit for coming out every, like, 6 or 7 weeks. They have a
Yeah.
brand new episode. They'll announce it, like, on a Friday, and it comes out on Tuesday. And they're just, like clockwork, they're just continuing to put this stuff out, and it's all really well voice acted. There's so much detail. They're telling a really interesting story. There's great puzzles. Like,
Hmm.
it's just this game came out of nowhere for me to be one of 2015's one most interesting games
Yeah, absolutely.
and one of the best games of this year. As long as they don't screw up episode 5, to me
Yeah.
this is like top 3 with a bullet.
Yeah, I honestly can't wait to get going on episode 4, and hopefully we can record another spoiler cast once I get back from PAX on that one.
Yeah, and hopefully we can record it before episode 5 comes out. That way
Yeah,
both of us can kind of dive into episode 5 when it comes out. But
nice.
man, these games. I just
Yeah,
I wish I'm probably preaching to the choir for anybody listening to this, but
hmm,
tell your friends to buy it. You know, Don't Nod is a small a studio. They're making great stuff. They're making an amazing adventure game, which we don't get a
yeah,
lot of anymore,
hmm,
especially on consoles. And they're trying something different, and I feel like they're doing it really well, and they're doing it regularly. And I just really hope this season ends up, or this series ends on a high note.
yeah,
Because if episode 5 is bad, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Because it's just such a great game, and you know, I think at some point, if episode 5 turns out really well, I think you could probably say, well, Walking Dead season 1 and Life is Strange, those are the two adventure games, like choice-driven adventure games you have to play. You
yes,
know, like
absolutely.
these you can hold up these two and say these are the best ones. These are the best in breed for choice-driven adventure games. These are the ones you got to play.
Yeah,
Um,
100%. Like I'm definitely considering like sitting down after I finish this and seeing what my wife does with it.
and that's kind of what I was thinking while we were talking. Is like, man, my wife and I should sit down and play this together. And like, it's one of those great things where you have enough time with each choice that I think you could sit down and talk through a decision
Yeah,
and sort of come to an interesting decision about it.
and
Um,
see both, and then rewind back and like go, okay, which one do you want to stick with?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Life is Strange, episode 2 and 3, really great and getting much better each one,
Hmm.
and just gut punching you at every turn.
Yep. Looking
Um,
forward to episode 4.
yeah, and then once TheHanna is done with episode 4, we'll record another spoiler cast. Hopefully within the next couple weeks. They
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't Nod is working on episode 5 right now. That seems like they're deep into voice acting right now. So we still have a couple weeks before it comes out. But yeah, we'll do another spoiler cast for episode 4, and then once episode 5 comes out, we'll probably do a spoiler cast for that encompasses kind of the whole season, or the whole series, along with episode 5, and kind of wrap the whole thing up. So, so thank you very much, everyone, for listening, and hopefully everybody's enjoying Life is Strange as much as we have. So thank you for joining me again, Hannah.
No problem.
And
always fun.
Yeah, definitely. Always fun to talk about awesome games and spoil the hell out of them. So we will see you all next time. Bye.
Later. Oh, I've been holding that one back.